Okay, so today is the session number 13 in the second semester on graded fusion categories, covering of this paper. So last week we finished one subsection 4 to 8 with this corollary, this important corollary, where we can get something non-degenerate. So we are very interested in non-degeneracy. So in this, for this disequivalentization, where D is braided over E, this is non-degenerate if only if the centralizer of D is E, and then something regarding symmetric and Tanakian, etc. Okay. Now, what we will do today is we will consider intermediate. So we have a group acting, and you can consider some intermediate disequivalentization. So lemma 432. So let D be a fusion category over the Tanakian category E equal rep G such that the functor, as usual, in fact, is fully faithful. Remember, this is the condition we need to get an embedding and to get the equivalence of fusion. So one is fusion if only the disequivalentization is fusion, etc. So recall it is required to get an embedding of E in D and diffusion if only if DG fusion, something like that. So this is very important. Okay, now you consider a subcategory of the Tanakian. Be a fusion subcategory of E. We will consider the intermediate disequivalentization with respect to F. And we will also take the disequivalentization of the Tanakian category itself. So, in fact, according to for such use, the fiber notation is more relevant. So remember, I was not happy with this fiber notation because I said, what's the point of this complicated notation? The notation with index G is much simpler, but when you start to consider some intermediate, and when you don't know what is the group, you don't want to consider the automorphism of the fiber functor, etc. So when you are strictly at the level of Tanakian category, it's more relevant, even if we can still avoid, but makes sense in some sense. Okay, so now, in fact, so the result is the following. You have this intermediate disequivalentization, and then if you Desequivalentized this one by this one is the same as desequivalentizing this one by this one. So you have this intermediate desequivalentization which recovers the full one. That's interesting. So there exists canonical G equivariant tensor equivalence. So desequivalentized the intermediate with a desequivalentized Tanakian, and you recover the full one. That's nice. That's very good. So here you see why in the notion of core you consider the maximal Tanakian or something like that, because if you condensate some Tanakian, but if there still remain some Tanakian category after condensation, you can nothing else. So up to there is nothing remaining. And a good way to do that is to directly start with maximal. So I hope the internet is working well. I saw some stability. Hopefully we will not have to disconnect and reconnect, but I'm not sure today. There is some non-stability of internet, so maybe don't be afraid if we disconnect. We'll try to connect again as soon as possible. And then okay, so here D is a fusion category. So D has no structure, braided structure, but now if D is a braided fusion category over E, so that both sides of 74 are braided, then as you can expect, this equivalence is an equivalence of braided fusion category, which require more structure than just that two categories are braided. You need the braided equivalence. Is an equivalence of braided fusion category. So proof of that. So what about the first? Okay. So in fact, you have some intermediate disequivalentization corresponding to a fusion subcategory of E. Remember, a fusion subcategory of rep G is rep G over H with H a normal subgroup. So we will consider this kind of H to rederive the statement from the corresponding result from equivalentization. So we will consider two steps in the equivalentization with G or H and then G over H. And we will see that you can align that with the disequivalentization we are considering. So let C be a fusion category equipped with an action of a finite group G, and let H be a normal subgroup. Then the quotient group G over H act naturally on the equivalentization CH. Naturally on the equivariantization CH. So exercise. And there is an equivalence of fusion category over rep G as follow. So the equivalentization of C by G is equivalent to the equivalentization by G over H of the equivalentization by H. So this is another exercise. And then so if C is braided, this is also a braided equivalence. Moreover, if C is braided and the action of G preserves the braiding, then this is an equivalence of braided fusion category. Is an equivalence of braided fusion category over rep G. Again, exercise. Each exercise is just to check the details which are omitted in the paper. Now, so you just take, as usual, D to be the equivalentization, and you take the fusion subcategory of the Tanakian to be this one. So remember that every fusion subcategory of E equal rep G is of the form rep G over H with H normal subgroup. So this is well known. Okay, then so the disequivalentization of D by F is nothing but that. Why? Because this is just CH G over H, which is, and then you apply the disequivalentization. So it is just CH. So you just consider this. You apply the result from the previous subsection at the equivalentization level. And then when you replace DC by that, what you get is what you want. Okay, now so let's continue. Okay, now if you take G D equivalentization on both sides of 75. This equivalentization of both sides of 75. We obtain the, so if you apply G disequivalentization here, what you get is that because of that. Okay. So we obtain the G equivariant equivalence 74. So the details also exercise. And here I wrote something. So D tilde is CH. Okay. E tilde is rep H, which is equal to rep G vec rep GH. And you see this equality is quite nice. This is very nice. You see, as I said, the fusion subcategory of rep G is of this form. So in particular, when you consider the fusion subcategory, you don't recover, you don't get rep H. You just get rep G over H. So where is rep H? In fact, rep H is not a fusion subcategory, but in fact, rep H is the disequivalentization of rep G by this subcategory. You have this category, this subcategory, and when you apply the disequivalentization, you get rep H. So so rep H exists somewhere here. So when you yeah, something like that. That's nice because maybe you can generalize this kind of construction if you want. Anyway, so that's all. There is the proof is finished. Wait, let me check something. 4:30. Okay. Yeah. No, it's okay. We proved everything we need. Okay. Now, remark. 4:33. By combining by the composition of several equivalents we mentioned before, we get the following tensor function. So in the setting of the previous lemma, 432, that was the lemma, we obtain a canonical G équivariant tensor functor phi from this intermediate disequivalent relation to the full disequivalent relation. Well, 76, it is just defined as the composition, a composition of several functors before of the canonical tensor functor. So this one map to that. With, so this is so 70, so you get this one. Wait. Yeah, so this is just the functor of disequivalentization. You start from that and you apply that. And then you compose with this equivalence here. So you get exactly what the functor we want. So tensor functor with the equivalence 74. So again, the same sentence. If D is braided, then this functor is braided over E. Then this functor is a braided tensor functor. Okay. Now, next proposition is also interesting, but now you take, instead of taking a fusion subcategory of the Tanakian category, you take a fusion subcategory of the category D, and you make the intersection and you consider the disequivalentization of this subcategory with the intersection of it with the Tanakian category E, and you get the following equivalence. The proposition 434. I. So let G be finite group, let D be a fusion category over the Tanakian category E equal red G, such that, so as before, the functor is fully faithful. Is fully faithful. So exactly the same remark as we did at the beginning. And here I forgot to say that this functor is so E from Z D as before. So this one coming from the definition, this is a central. This is braided functor, and then you have the forgetful functor here. Yeah. So braided fusion category over. Wait, let me check something. Let's check something. I forgot. Wait a minute. Tensor category over E is a tensor category equipped with a central functor. So that is the braided functor. Yeah. Yeah, so in fact, I don't need to specify this composition because in fact, in the definition of over Tanakian, it's already a central functor like that, meaning, so you have the functor, meaning that the braided functor from that to that, and then here you take you decompose this way. So okay. But yeah, strictly speaking, when you talk about fusion category over Tanakian, it's directly given by a central functor. So you have the functor, and it's fully faithful, so it's embed, etc. But in fact, yeah, you can omit that. But in fact, it makes more sense to just say that central functor means there is a braided functor here, and then you take the forgetful functor here. But I remember I wrote several times this composition, but in fact, it was not strictly speaking required. It makes more sense to recall. It's more easy to understand. Okay, so is fully faithful, as usual. Okay, same comment as before. Now we consider a subcategory of D. So let me recall that here we take a subcategory of D. In the previous result, we took a subcategory of E. B, a fusion subcategory. Then there is a canonical G equivariant tensor equivalence. So the disequivalentization of D1, but you cannot apply E directly, you need D1 intersection E. Is equivalent to the disequivalentization by E of D1, the subcategory generated by D1 and E. So this, you see, this is interesting. You see the thing are working really well. So this is interesting. It works very well, almost set theoretically. In fact, you have you take a sub something, and the disequivalentization with respect to that, so it's like the same. So you put both together and you disequilibrate. So it's better maybe to see the other way. You take D1, a subcategory, and E. You generate that. And then you want to condensate. You want to condensate the Tanakian category E here. It is the same to condensate this one here. And of course, if this intersection is trivial, we will get something easier for the proof. In fact, the proof will work this way, in fact. You will first consider when the intersection is trivial, and then the proof should be not so complicated. And if the intersection is non-trivial, then you make an intermediate step by considering an intermediate disequivalentization. And this intermediate disequivalentization, you get to the trivial case, and so you conclude. So the proof is quite interesting again. So second point of the proposition. So again with the braided structure. Suppose in addition that D suppose in addition that D is a braided fusion category over E, and be careful again. The definition of braided fusion category over E mean that E embedded to D centralizer. So you have a braided. No, I mean you have a braided functor from E to D centralizer. So when you say braided functor, so the notation is a bit confusing. This is some previous session. Braided fusion category over E, you have to be careful, is not strictly parallel to fusion category over E, even if we explain that it's more or less essentially the same. But you have to be careful. And if it is fully faithful, so you have an embedding of E in the centralizer of E. Okay. So, but anyway, suppose in addition that D is braided over E, so both sides of 77 are braided, then 77 is a braided equivalence. And I remember I was asking myself why we needed this, but not just this. In fact, it is like that. I guess otherwise in all this second part of result, when you say if it is braided over that blah blah blah, then the equivalence is a braided equivalence. Maybe you will not get the braided equivalence if you just have that. You really need that. In fact, I did not check, but I guess this is a natural reason why we need this extra assumption. So before proving, let's write a remark before the proof. Remark. $535. So first remark. So the Tanakian subcategory D1 intersection E included in E is of the form rep G1 or some G1 for a certain quotient G1 of G, not a subgroup, not a normal subgroup, but the quotient by a normal subgroup as recalled before. Second point, recall that this, what about that? Just denote the disequivalentization. So it's just another notation for that. Disequivariantization. D1E G. G. So likewise, D1, this one is just this one. It follows that G acts on both sides of 77, thanks to this model. Thus, G acts on both sides of 77. So on the left-hand side is trivial. On the right-hand side, the action is trivial. It is what we said before. Correspond to the previous subsection, but for the right-hand side, the action factor to G1. Okay. So it's like an action of G1, but which is it's an action of G which is degenerated. So you have a kernel, and the quotient by the kernel is just G1. So we will use some of this notation for the proof of this proposition. So in the proof below, we use the notation introduced in remark for 35. So proof, and this is nice proof. According to me. So when I don't like a proof, I said I don't. I say I don't like. When I like a proof, I say I like. I don't know if it is a personal taste or if the author made more effort to write the proof. Define the functor. So we want to define this functor 77 as the following composition. Yeah. Define the functor 77 as the composition. So you start from that déséquivalentization with and then you apply some functor phi and psi which will be defined after. So you will decompose, we will define these two, and then psi, phi. So this one is just defined by the embedding of D1 in here. You see that this part is the same, and this one is the one coming from the previous remark. You see, you have F is a subcategory of E, and the rest is the same. This is exactly what you get here. This is a subcategory of that, and the rest are the same. Okay. So you consider this composition, which is well defined, and where the phi is induced by the embedding D1 here. So it's an embedding of fusion category over that, and psi is the functor 76, as I just recalled in the previous remark. So both are tensor functor. tensor functor. And in the situation of the second point, they are braided. In the situation of the second point, they are braided tensor functor. So clear. So the first phi is G1 equivariant, and the second psi is G equivariant. So you can exercise. Maybe the second one is not an exercise, it's immediate by definition. But in any way, so both, if you compose the two, is still a G equivariant. Because if it is G1 equivariant, it is G equivariant because then the action is, so it factors through G1 as before. So the composition, and the composition is G equivariant. So okay, so now we need to show that this composition is an equivalence. So this is what we have here. We define this one functor, one G equivalent tensor functor by the composition before. So we prove it is a G equivalent tensor functor. Now we want to prove it's an equivalence. And for that, we will make two cases, the trivial case, and that's the non-trivial case, which will reduce to the trivial case by some intermediate disequivalentization. So it remains to show that this composition is an equivalence. So step one, the easy case, trivial. So this intersection is trivial. So in this case, I will consider that after the pause. It's time for the pause. Okay. So, trivial case, intersection of D1 and E is VEC. So we consider now we can simplify, in this case, we can simplify this composition. So in this case, we must show that the simplified composition, so D1 embed into D1E map to D1E is equivalentization. Need to show that this is an equivalence. Okay. So this is interesting again. So as interesting as what we said here. In the trivial case, you have something even more explicit. If you disequivalentize the fusion subcategory, extend, in some sense, you extend it by E this way, you put E, and then you remove E. And what you get is D1 as long as if the intersection is trivial. So you see, under this assumption, putting E and then condensate it the same as doing nothing. Okay. So this is what we need to show in this case. So since D is over E, so we have a canonical tensor functor D1 de l'in tensor I to D1 I. So let me check something. Yeah, it's fully faithful. So E. So it's not just the fact that it's over E, but it's also you have something fully faithful. So E by fully faithfulness, etc. So you can consider this Deligne tensor, so formally the object of this form, and you can put this in the have to remove you can do the usual tensor product on D. And so you have this tensor functor this way. So thanks to the tensor functor given, so it's a tensor functor because the tensor product, so it's given by the tensor product of D. So this functor is trivially surjective. And it is fully faithful. It is also fully faithful by lemma. So it's a whole lemma 212, which requires it's specifically you apply directly the lemma, and this lemma explicitly need the intersection is trivial. So but fully faithful imply injective. It's an embedding, so it's surjective and injective, so it's an equivalence. Hence, it is an equivalence since fully faithful imply injective. Okay. So you get an equivalence. So this is an equivalence, this one. So you can identify the two. Therefore, this disequivalentization is equivalent to this disequivalentization. But in fact, this such Deligne tensor product is just a trivial equivalentization. So it's an equivalentization of D1 where G acts trivially. So it's something trivial here. But D1 Deligne tensor with E is just D1 equivalentization using the trivial G action or on D1. So maybe put a small exercise here for the details. And then, so the disequivalentization of that is nothing but the disequivalentization of the equivalentization of D1. So it's just D1. Yeah. So in fact, when you consider the Deligne tensor product, in fact, I forgot something. Is something trivial. So when you condense, you really condensate the E here, so you recover D1. So intuitively, it's okay. And here I made a typo. This is G, not epsilon E. Okay, so that's nice. Very nice. In fact, the idea for the trivial case is to say that the trivial case corresponds to just a Deligne tensor product. Okay. Now, the second step, when it is non-trivial case, the general case, in fact, we will reduce to the trivial case by some intermediate disequivalentization. ID. We will reduce to the step 1 by some intermediate disequivalentization. Okay. So the intermediate disequivalentization is, as you can expect, you take D1 till to be D1 intersection E vec. You take this one. And you take this vec. But then the intersection of these two is trivial. So this is nothing but D1 intersection E epsilon. Disequivalentization D1 intersection E vec, which is vec. You condensate the category by itself. So you directly recover vec. And to be more convinced, in fact, you are just doing something like that. Ver vec GG equal vec. The disequivalentization of the equivalentization is vec. So we are in the step one, or in the easy case. So we are in the easy case above. Therefore, we have an equivalence for this intermediate step. The composition D1 tilde, D1 tilde, epsilon E tilde, D1 tilde, E tilde. This one is an equivalence. Is an equivalence. Now, how to conclude them? So that you still need an argument to conclude. So, so we will need to consider three equality at the very end of the proof. So we will need to combine, in fact, this equality, I will call it 1, and two other, which we will write now. So by proposition 430, first point, which was there is a lattice isomorphism between the fusion subcategory DT included in D containing E and the G stable fusion subcategory given by okay. So you have a lattice using the equivalentization. You have isomorphism of lattice. So by that, you have D1 tilde and E tilde is D1 E disequivalentization this way. And that will be, so I will explain a little bit this, but that will be the identity 2 we'll consider later. So what does it mean here? So using that, you have, first we know that D1 intersection E is included in D1 and E, which is included in D. And so you need that, you need this kind of inclusion in the proposition 430 because it is saying that there is a lattice isomorphism between the fusion subcategory D tilde containing E. So here we are not considering E, but this one. So it should contain that. And this is a fusion subcategory. Wait. So let me see why. So you consider okay, so here, what do you have? So D1 tilde, E tilde, equivalentization by G1. It is nothing but D1 E. Because, so where is it? Here, this corresponds to the disequivalentization by G1, as we mentioned somewhere before. Yeah, G1. Where is G1? Yeah. So you have that. And using this, you have, so we have that because D, so this is this, and this is this. And so you can apply. So you apply this lattice isomorphism in this situation. You need something like that. So if you do that, what you get? Yeah. So now you see, this is an equivalentization, this is a disequivalentization. And we know there is a lattice isomorphism between the two. In the assumption of the proposition, you need some inclusion. And so the equivalentization of that is that. So the disequivalentization of that by G is that. So you get the equality you want. Okay. So you have that. You need this. Now, since now this is a fusion category over E, is a fusion category over E. Since we have that, we can apply lemma 432 first pointer, which is 430. Yeah, this is saying that if you apply so d tilde relative d tilde with e tilde, if you condensate e tilde in d tilde, is the same as condensate e in d. So this is what we need here. This is lemma 432i. And so you can apply this applied to the Tanakian subcategory F2B. This one, included in E. So if you apply that in this case, you can identify that with, so this is just the statement of the lemma in this specific case. Okay. And this is the third identity we need. Okay, so now if you apply 1, 2, 3, so the application of 1, 2, 3 to that is exactly that. So you recover the so you have the first step, trivial case, you get a proof using the Lin tensor product. Second step, general case, you reduce to the trivial case by some intermediate equivalentization. And then you get a sequence of equality, of identity, which permit to identify this coming from the trivial case to the general case. Okay. So, thus, diagram 79 identify, so via 1, 2, 3 with diagram 78. Hence, the composition in 78 is also an equivalence. Is an equivalence. Is an equivalence. Completing the proof. Okay. Okay. So the next corollary will be a simplified braided version of this proposition we just finished to prove. So this proposition do not assume D to be braided, but if you assume D to be braided, in fact, you can simplify as follows. So the following is a simplified braided version of proposition 434. For the last proposition. Corollary 436. So this is the following. In fact, you take D to be braided, and you, instead of taking instead of saying that it is over E, you just take E inside the D. Yeah. So let D be a braided fusion category. D1 in D, a fusion subcategory, and you directly take E inside D. The Panakian fusion subcategory equipped with fiber functor F from E to C, and you take G to be the automorphism as usual. So E is rep G. Then so here I hope I did not miss something. The difference category and the attack with the fiber functor rep GF. Yeah. Yes, so yeah. In fact, remember, I recall several times that what we want is inside D, the centralizer of D, but that will be specified as a second point. So there is a canonical GF equivariant tensor equivalence. Tensor equivalence B1 avec so this is exactly the same as before, where the functor. So here I don't know why they wanted to specify and this functor correspond to the fiber functor. So you need to so you choose a fiber functor, and you, in fact, what you are considering here can be defined with respect to this fiber functor to make vec to be E module. Yes. So if you consider the definition of that in terms of E module relative tensor product. But in fact, in this paper, they choose to do not write the details of that, so I don't know why they want to write that. But so remember about the remark for 11 2i. So they are talking about tensor product on E module. And here, in fact, more specifically, on D1 intersection E module category. Okay. So for that, you need E also. You need vec to be a module, and it is a module with respect to the fiber functor. So that's what they are talking about. So correspond to the fiber functor f from E to vec, and the restriction respectively. Yeah, so you should, yeah, I forgot that. And here you should consider both E or the intersection. Okay, so you have that. So this is exactly the statement we mentioned before. And then to get the braided equivalence, you need really this. So you need if E centralize D1, not E, not D, but D1. So E is in D1. It is in D1 prime. Then this equivalence is braided. Okay. So, oof. Um, um, uh, so what should we prove for the? So there is a canonical GF current tensor equivalence. So first, the category D is naturally a fusion category over E. Yeah, because here we did not assume D to be over E. We just say E is a subcategory. So and it's it is a fusion category over E. The category D is naturally a fusion category over E. So note that we do not yet say that D is a Brady fusion category over E because it's not the same. So why? Because you define the braided functor from E to the centralizer of D, sorry, as the composition. So E embedding D by definition, and then you apply the embedding of D in its Drinfeld center because D is braided, where phi come from the braided structure of D on D. And so now the point directly follow from the previous proposition. So directly from the previous proposition, which was in general, did not assume D to be braided in the previous proposition, but it assumed D to be over E. So here, the only fact, you only need to, so you can simplify, this is what I said, you can simplify the statement in the braided case because you only need to get E inside D. And then, because of the braiding, it will be automatically a fusion category over E. I repeat, it's not a braided fusion category over E, according to the definition, but fusion category over E. And now, if E centralize D1, then this is a braided fusion category over E. So with the extra assumption, remember, is a braided. So with a subtlety here, where the notation are not very, the notation are confusing. So what does it mean? It means that E embed into that. And it's okay because E is Tanakian, so is equal to its own centralizer. And what? And you have that by assumption. So yeah, so it embed into the, we have that and that, so you have that. I guess it's okay. Okay. So if E centralized D1, then you have that, then is a braided, and so you can apply the second point of the previous position. And the braiding statement. Second point follow from the second point of the previous proposition. From proposition 434 second. Okay, and that's all for this proof. And that's all for this section 4.2. Good. So next, section 4.3, tensor categories. D equipped with a tensor functor rep-G. So this section will be written for information only, not just for the course, but also in the paper. But in fact, there will be no proof. In fact, we will just refer to a proof in another paper. In fact, we will not use the result mentioned in this section, but in fact, it is quite interesting because remember in all the two category equivalence we mentioned before, we have a central functor. So we always assume the functor to be central. So this functor is in the previous result, this functor is central. What about if this functor is not central? And D is a general tensor fusion category, but with that non-central, without assuming central. Can we get something? In fact, we can. This statement, this section will explain we can still get an equivalence, two equivalence, but you need to replace, in fact, when you consider equivalentization, disequivalentization, here we don't have that, but you remember the disequivalentization was the A module. Here, in this case, you will consider a bimodule, where A is a regular algebra in rep-G, and for the other side, you will consider B module, where B is a group algebra in vec-G. But in fact, this way, everything looks much more, I don't know, deep or conceptual. Because, in fact, what we will note later is that this equivalence using bimodule, without assuming this central assumption, is just saying that rep-G and vec-G are Morita equivalent, categorically Morita equivalent, which I expect, in fact, can be proved directly. In fact, I expect that all the boring section 4.2, so the result in the main result in section 4.2 more or less saying that vec-G and rep-G are Morita equivalent. And I expect that this can be proved directly and that you can recover what was done in section 4.2 directly in a more conceptual way. Just by proving something at the level of, without you forget about rep-G and vec-G, you just consider two categories which are categorically Morita equivalent. And you can, I will explain that tomorrow because I will have no time today, but let me just start to write this, the beginning of this section. It's just this short subsection will not be used, strictly speaking, but it provides, in fact, a good global understanding of the theory. So it's good to mention it. So for the last 3 minutes, I will start to write there's a big paragraph here. To fix a finite group G. So by theorem for 18 first point. the two category of, so the same, so we will repeat that for, I guess, for 10 times, maybe, I don't know. The two category of Karoubian tensor, category D, equipped with a central, and here we specify central because then we will this section is about the generalization without central. So we will first recall what we know. The central tensor functor f from rep G to D is a two equivalence. Is two equivalent. So is two equivalent to the two category of Karoubian tensor category C categories C equipped with a G action. The equivalent is given by equivalentization. The equivalentization. The equivalence is given by equivalentization and the equivalentization. Another word, C equal DG and D equal CG. So in this section, in this subsection, and I will just finish this sentence. We briefly discuss the situation in which the functor is not central. So not central. Is not central, but only tensor functor. Okay. And here we will, as I said, so I will finish tomorrow. We will, for going from one to the other, we will consider bimodule. And you have a kind of symmetric process. So in my opinion, this approach is more meaningful. Because it's really symmetric in the two process, you have something which is much better than in the. Okay.